ability and the passion for sitting on this board. So I make a motion that we table this nomination.
Second.
Roll call vote? A roll call vote, please?
If there's any more discussion.
Oh, is there any more discussion? I'm sorry. Okay, so,
Just from my understanding, this is for an alternate 2 position that is a non-voting position and will only vote if a member of the HPC is not available to vote, and if the first alternate is not there. And presumably the folks on the HPC understand when a vote is coming at a meeting and are usually astute enough to show up for a vote. Is that correct? Very simple question.
Yes.
Presumably, however,
Okay.
we have seen that when there has been appointments to an alternate position, when another vacancy comes up, the alternates tend to get moved up. And we've seen that happen already this year. So
But
in
that
light
is not
of,
a
in
rule.
light of
That is not
that,
a rule.
well, it seems to be the practice that our mayor has been following this year. Whether it's a rule or not.
again, I don't make decisions on my own. All right, we
I'm
all
pretty sure you
vote
voice
equally.
Every single appointment, right?
Okay,
I just want to clarify, is that a rule or is that not a rule?
It's not a rule.
it's not.
Okay, understood. And are there other appointments coming up? My understanding there's 1, maybe 2 other appointments coming up shortly for the HPC.
That's not necessarily
One is
accurate.
absolutely not going to be here. He's going to college and
Okay.
will be resigning this year.
Okay, so
Correct.
there is 1 coming up. Okay,
Correct.
so understood. Okay, second, just understanding the idea of groupthink. And, you know, we always try to avoid in the business world, especially in my companies, we try to avoid groupthink. We really respect the diverse perspectives, the improved decision-making we receive, the innovation and creativity. Right now, in terms of the mission, as you guys keep stating the mission, how does the mission not be affected by groupthink? I want to understand that.
So the mission of the HPC is to nominate historic assets to go up for the TC and the planning board to review. They are not the mechanism by which things get designated.
Understood.
They're the ones that are supposed to do the research. They're the ones that are supposed to identify these things. And if you have individuals on that board that don't believe in that mission, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. For example, it's sort of like appointing an anti-vaxxer to a board that is designed to develop the next vaccine, right? It's a contradiction, and it's a contradiction that I don't seem to be able to get over easily, because the check on the HPC are the 5 of us up here on the TC. It's also the planning board. So there are checks in
Right,
place.
but I sit up here, I've sat up here, I've never consulted about anything that happened at HPC. I would say we're a check, maybe the designations, but the HPC operates and does so much more than just designate.
Correct, and I think what people fail to understand is what happened last year is they went through the statutory process that they had to follow to advance a designation to the township committee. The Historic Preservation Commission ultimately decided to table that, and they did not move forward, recommending to the township committee to move forward with
But
that.
good.
So the public outcry, the public response worked. Now, can the HPC improve? Absolutely, and I'll be working with them on improving their education component, et cetera. However, I still believe that it is important to point people to boards that actually believe in the mission of the board. Dissenting opinion is great as long as it can be objective. And I do not feel that this individual is able to be objective based on multiple comments that he has made directly to me and others close to me.
Understood. And going through, you know, I've spent a lot of time with this individual, with Venkatesh, and understanding that, you know, we ran on full transparency, open communication, doing what's right for the town, getting public input. To me, it just seems that working away from groupthink, which seems to be the case when they arbitrarily sent 153 letters out to Milburn Short Hills residents with zero regard for how it would be received in the middle of the night, and not having someone who had the fortitude to push back and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't send these out. Maybe our mission isn't that isn't correct. Maybe we should actually take a look at this. And I would have been upset if I had received that letter. Now I do live in, I think I'm the only person on this dais that lives in a historical home. I understand the benefits of living in a historical house. One being is like they can't build affordable housing anywhere near me. You know, that's always a positive in terms of where you live in a historical designated area. However, I just cannot understand why groupthink, why the understanding where this gentleman has put himself forward into this position, and he has a fantastic background, he has an engineering background, he has come forward, he's come to this country, he's built a beautiful, great, unbelievably successful business that's thriving, and he's put his time and effort forward to help this community. And I don't even look at the partisan effort. I look at the individual and the contributions he can make to this. And a few comments that he may have made during a campaign season, I don't think negates anyone. I love
The
I love
comments
my-
were-
One at a
comments
time,
were made.
one at a time, please.
Can
One
I
at a
just
time.
add to, and you know, perhaps a different analogy than the anti-vaxxer is, we wouldn't support putting someone on the environmental commission who believes that climate change is a hoax and is against sustainability, because that is the purpose of the environmental commission.
Exactly.
Furthermore, I also believe that as we've appointed Deputy Mayor Sacramandi to be our representative on this committee, if he is opposed to this appointment, that is something that we should respect, just as for the committees that we were on, if someone was going to, if there was an appointment up that we disagreed with, we would hope that the other members of the committee would support us.
100%, very valid, Mike. However, I would want to understand, have good reasoning versus we want our groupthink and we want to be able to execute with no checks and balances. To me, that's not a good reason. I need one reason that says, hey, this is why we shouldn't embrace the knowledge of this resident who's gone through this process, who can absolutely contribute to the process. And I have yet to receive that reason. And to the anti-vaxxer, I think there's a lot of people in this room and in this country are wishing there wasn't groupthink surrounded by anti-vaxxing. I know some children that wish they were not vaxxed. So let's just put that to bed right now. That's not a good example. And the nonsensical example of a mathematics versus you know, whatever the nonsensical example given earlier, I didn't even follow it. The example that was given to me over the weekend was having a environmentalist join one of our boards of an oil company. We love having that happen because then we get absolute clarity on the decisions that we're making. That's why I own an oil company, but you have full transparency, and that's what I think we need as a.
Thank you.
There's
Okay,
a,
so-
there's a
Yes,
difference.
so,
There's a roll
yes,
call.
so we have a motion and a second to table resolution 24-113, right?
And there was a second by Michael.
And there was a
then
second, there's a motion to
roll call vote.
table, roll call vote.
Well, there's discussion before the roll call vote. And I
Well,
have
no.
something to say. We have a discussion.
Excuse me, one second.
So we've had the discussion and everybody's had the opportunity to speak, and once everybody's had the opportunity to speak, the mayor can then invoke if the mayor can either permit anybody additional to speak or call the roll call vote.
So we're gonna have a roll call vote to table the resolution, right? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Prupus,
No,
Deputy Mayor Sacramandi,
Yes,
Mr. Stoller,
Negative.
Mayor Romano.
No. Okay, so may I have a motion to approve resolution 24-113?
so moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen,
No.
Ms. Prupus.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sacramandi,
no,
Mr. Stoller,
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from the committee?